Jascott with RecordProduction.com, and we're pleased to be at the Cash Cabin Studios. Here we are in Nashville, Tennessee, with John Carter Cash. Welcome, John.
Glad to be here, Johnny. Thank you.
All right. Well, it's a big pleasure to be here. We're excited all the way coming down, thinking about coming here and all the history here in the studio.
Yeah, man, you guys drove all the way down.
Yeah.
Welcome to Tennessee.
Thank you. It's great. Listen, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, about your past, how you got involved in music, and where you think you're going to be going in music, and just tell us a little bit about it.
My father was Johnny Cash, my mother June Carter Cash, and I began to play music with them all through my life. When I was 27, 28 years old, I started to put together music in the studio and just work with them as a matter of convenience, that I was, that close, and I'd worked in the studio quite a bit by myself, just recording my own demos. And so I just got in with them and spent time with them recording, and had a great time. Working with my mother and father. I worked under Rick Rubin for 2 of the American records, my father's American 3 and American 4. After that, I produced a record called The Unbroken Circle, the musical heritage of the Carter family. It came out in 2003, and had Sheryl Crow, George Jones, Ricky Skaggs and the Whites, Marty Stewart on the record, quite a few good friends got together to make the record. It was nominated for 3 Grammys. And then just got done a few months back co-producing Marty Stewart's record, Badlands, which will be out in November. And I do independent projects. I produced a record for the Peasaw Sisters, who actually performed on the old Brother Where Art Thou soundtrack, and their record will be out in November. And I'm just having a lot of fun. The studio is just a comfortable spot. We like to make music. We like to just feel free and have a good time. And there's a lot of nostalgia here, a lot of history, and it's a very peaceful place. So.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You're involved with a movie now with your father coming up.
There is a film coming out in November about my father, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon as my mother. It's called Walk the Line. My father had a lot to do with putting it together through the years, but I'm actually executive producer on the film. Took over sort of in his stead when he couldn't be there. And but yeah, it was a lot of fun seeing it come together, and a great blessing. Joaquin and Reese are excellent in their performances, and I'm very anxiously awaiting its release, and I know that the public and the people will love the movie. So. Right.
Well, you're carrying on a huge heritage. I mean, both the Cash and the Carter family.
Yeah, well, the music means a lot to me. The heritage means the world. The spirit of that music will never die. My father's music, the Carter family's music, and it's very close to my heart. But I record a lot of traditional, more acoustic-based music. But I also record stuff that's more die-hard honky-tonk country, and I also do rock and roll. Record rock and roll projects and gospel, which I'm doing a gospel record right now that's called Voice of the Spirit, which will be out in Dual Tone Records the top of next year. And I had some great friends coming together for it: Rodney Crowell, Connie Smith, Vince Gill. My wife Laura Cash is a great fiddle player. She's on that record. Mavis Staples is going to be on the record. I'm actually recording the Mighty Clouds of Joy here this week, so it's going to be an interesting record. So it's diverse music that we're getting into.
Right. Well, that's great. I think that's something that's missing right now, and I don't know if you agree or not. Maybe you have an opinion on this, but we drove down here quite a few hours and listened to music all the way on the stations, and everything was pretty much the same on the radio stations right now. It's kind of hard to find that real gutsy country music anymore.
Yeah. Well, they break the molds on the real ones, and that's the deal. My father was, and his heritage is still just as real and true as can be. Also, you know, Willie Nelson, you know, but
Right.
there's some great ones out there making music right now. Marty Stewart's, his new record, Badlands, is coming out. And Souls Chapel, which is actually coming out before Badlands. Souls Chapel's a gospel project. Badlands is about the Native Americans. But Marty is stepping into his own, and has actually for a while. But
Right.
as a serious artist, he beautiful, wonderful songs. He wrote them all on the record Badlands, with the exception of one, and it was written by my father, as a matter of fact. But it's about the Lakota people of South Dakota, you know, and so, you know, I mean, there is great music that's coming out, you know, that is out there. I truly believe it, and but yeah, for you know, and there is music that I would rather listen to because I've probably heard it before, whether or not I've heard the song, or I'd rather not listen to it because I've heard it before one way or another.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I
Well, I didn't mean to imply there was no good music.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think what I'm
yeah.
implying is that the good music you have to go and get yourself. It's
Yeah.
not presented to you
No.
anymore. You know,
No.
it's like
Well, there's a McDonald's on every corner, right?
yeah,
Yeah. But the the real stuff you have to look for.
yeah.
So
It's there, and I think the
yeah.
independent music is starting to step in again, and
Yeah.
hopefully that'll
Yeah.
resurge.
Well,
some
the
of
people will speak because people know what's good.
Right.
You know, the fans know what's good, and that's what lasts. That's what lasts. That's the kind of music. You know, my father's record, the Carter Family, the Willie Nelson records from the '70s, Waylon Jennings, Chris Christopherson's songs. These are the ones that 100 years from now will matter. And so I like to ask myself when I'm looking at music or listening to music, what's it, you know, or producing music or working in the studio, will this make a difference in 100 years?
Right, yeah, that's interesting. But now, do you take on new projects? Obviously, I mean, you take on new artists.
Yes, I do. Here this month, I'm actually doing a project for a girl out of Pennsylvania named Sarah Liska, who is just a wonderful singer and has a great voice, and I'll be doing her project later on this month. I'll be doing a project with my sister Carlene Carter, who's getting back into writing and performing here this month. And yeah, I'll probably be working with a rock band too here at the top of next month. And but anyway, it's all coming, you know, comes together. I don't do a lot of advertising, just because we're very subdued here. You know, I am open to projects though, and I would love to. I'm always willing to listen and hear songs and hear artists.
Yeah, great. Now, you've written songs yourself. You performed.
Mm-hmm.
You have an album out. Who are your influences other than the obvious, your family?
Well, I do have a record out in Europe. It's called Bitter Harvest. It's under my name, John Carter Cash. My influences are diverse. I grew up, you know, early on listening to country. In my teenage years, I listened to more rock and roll, you know, hard rock, AC/DC, Black Sabbath, stuff like that. So my music, if you listen to my record, there are hints of influence by the band. There are hints of influence by Steve Earle. There are hints of influence by AC/DC, you know, and you know, by the Carter Family. I have a lot of diverse influence, and my record, you couldn't say it's classifiable really in any way in any certain genre, and I have no intention of doing anything other than staying true to my heart musically, and I just write what I love, you know. So it's out there, you know. My music, in that it's hard to find, and it's in the ethereal maybe somehow or another.
Yeah. No,
But I have a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the record production, you know, is what I love. I love to work in the studio, whether it's my own music or with another artist. That's where I'm comfortable. So that's what matters to me.
Right. Now, you know, you getting first breaks, so it's breaking into the industry. Obviously, you had a backdoor entrance into it, but I'm sure it was still something you have to prove yourself to people.
Oh yeah.
Do you find it maybe even harder because you're walking behind Johnny Cash and June Carter, or
well, you
or
have
maybe it opens the
you
door
have a
little?
name, but along with that recognition comes, I have found, comes an assumption of who you are and what you're going to do, and what matters to me is that I follow my heart. I love what I do. I love to work in the studio. If I didn't, I wouldn't do it. I love to make music, and so therefore I find my freedom there. If I didn't find my freedom there, I wouldn't be doing it, you know. But I can't. I learned that I can't walk in my father's footsteps. I have to make my own path, you know. And so in some ways, I had to prove myself even harder, you know. It was even harder than it would have been without the name that I was born with.
Right.
Which, one thing, I can't do anything about it, but at the same time, I'll never deny it.
But,
Yeah.
obviously.
So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the heritage, and it also comes with that comes a sense of responsibility.
Right, I think that's the point I was getting, like, you know, people may think, geez, oh, there's an open door there, but again, once you get there now,
Yeah.
you're being looked at as, geez, you know, what's he gonna put out? You're being compared, and that might make it harder.
Yeah, you know, I don't feel that pressure.
Yeah, great.
I don't feel that pressure, nor do I take it on if I feel like other people are looking at me as okay, what are you going to do now? You know, I don't. I've learned not to compete with my father.
Right.
You know, I walk my own path. I race my own race, and you know, and it's not even a race. It is just you know, trudging the road to happy destiny, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't mean to imply it. You know,
Oh, hey,
you know,
don't apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, please just
great.
just let it go.
Yeah, now your mom, another great singer and songwriter, and the whole
Oh, yeah,
family.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what's that like? You know, when you go there, is that family still a huge musical family? And
Oh, the Carter family, it means so much to me musically. Within the past 6 or 7 years, with my wife Laura's influence in my life, really is where it began. I fell in love with the Carter family's music once and for all, which, you know, I think in my early years, in my teen years, I sort of took it for granted. We sang Will the Circle Be Unbroken every night. But it was only later on that I finally recognized, hey, wait a second, there's over 300 of these Carter family songs that were recorded. You know, they're wonderful, they're beautiful, and it was like finding a treasure trove, you know.
Right, yeah.
So that music means the world to me. It really does. And the Carter family record that I made, The Unbroken Circle, was a life's love endeavor. It really was. And I had a wonderful time putting it together. And I still listen to the music all the time. There's a quote that Marty Stewart told me that I don't know where he heard it, but it's in the face of perfect beauty, you know, tears are the only answer. And that's what the Carter family was. It was beautiful, pure music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
And they, you know, in southwestern Virginia, they're still making the Carter family's music. Jeanette Carter's still there. She's the grand matriarch of the family now. It's AP and Sarah Carter's daughter.
Yeah.
And so in Hilton's, Virginia, the Carter Fold, they're still making music every Saturday night.
Excellent. So good to hear that. All right, now let's talk a little bit more about you. Now, when someone's looking for a producer or someone to produce their music, what would be the one thing that you think they'd say, hey, let's call John Carter Cash to do this?
That the artist would follow their love, what they love the most about writing songs and making music, and that's what I would hope to stand behind, to clarify and you know, to be there as a guide, you know, when necessary, if necessary. Also to bring in the right factors around that artistry and that beauty, and then hopefully, and pray, and it's how I've worked, is to identify what that beauty is and bring it out more so, and you know, and then my team, we're just easy to be around. But, you know, I mean, it's we have a diverse, we can offer a diverse sound. We bring in diversity of different projects and whatnot. But it's a matter of the heart and mutual recognition. And hey, this is the right thing to do. Which I'm always careful and make sure, you know, that myself and the artist and my engineer and that everybody is eager and excited about the project, and it's something that we believe in. And you know, I take it on as a matter of the heart. I do. So.
Excellent. Now, John, if someone was interested in maybe contacting you or having you listen to something they have, see if you'd be interested in working with them, Is there a website or a way that they contact you? Are you open to people contacting you?
Yes, I am. I'm open to folks contacting me, and I'm always willing to listen to music and to hear folks and ideas and where they're headed, with production and with my website is johncartercash.com, and so I can be reached through that website. There is a contact email listed there.
If you were looking at new material, if someone sent you a song to listen to, well, are there can you name maybe 3 things that would capture your attention so that you would not just shove it to the side or toss it in the corner and say, yeah, that's nice, but, or another one, I've heard that before, or what is it that makes you want to stop for that 1 millisecond that makes that one piece a little different?
Uniqueness of voice is the first thing. The next 2 are song quality and song quality, okay. and that's it really. I mean, because
when you say song quality,
if an artist is the writer, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but if an artist is the writer,
that will spark my energy. And my gosh, they have a unique sound. My goodness, they're a wonderful writer, and that to me is always what I'm looking for. But I mean. And if the person is not writing that much, normally what I will do is I will put them with other writers, and I will say, let's get to writing.
So now what about the opposite end? If a person's a songwriter and maybe doesn't have a band but has music in the song and it ain't that
uniqueness and quality of voice.
Right. So it's not so much that
and
the band has to be right on, because obviously that's why they're coming to you, is to say, geez, I've got a song. And
whether the artist is a simple songwriter and the songs speak for themselves, and then that could be all that I'm looking for.
Right.
If the artist is a great vocalist and write great songs, that's great too.
Right. So the song's got to touch you, basically.
That's what I'm looking for. But I mean, I do a lot of song research, so it doesn't have to be that the artist is a writer, because I'm always digging into songs everywhere. I do a lot of song research.
Any words of advice you might have for up-and-coming producers? Anything that
stick with it. That's probably the most important lesson that I learned from my father, and that I've learned in life in general, is persistence. There's a parable that says genius is a dime a dozen. That the answer is in persistence, and I thank goodness genius is a dime a dozen, because I don't have it in the first place. But persistence is where the answer is. The heart is where the answer is, and not stopping, having faith, in in a direction, having a vision and following through with it. That's what it's about. It's about doing what we love in life. It's about finding joy in our work.
That's great. All right. Anything you'd like to say? Anything special that you might have thought of that we didn't cover?
I'm just glad to have you guys here. Glad to share the time here on and to be a part of recordproduction.com. This has been a good experience, and thank you for coming down to the South. Y'all come back now. You're here.
Yeah, you bet we will. It's great.
Yeah.